Today we're going to be talking about events. This will be part 3 of a 4-part events tutorial series. The purpose of this tutorial is to understand the new format of the event invitation and how to design and send invitations in CRM. The first step is learning this new invitation format and understanding it. Next, we'll design an actual invitation. And then finally, we'll send a test invitation as well as the actual invitation to guests. Let's begin. Here we are on the CRM homepage. The first thing that you should do is go to the Events tab and find the event you previously created. Now that your event is drafted and guests have been added, the next step will be designing and sending invitations. First, let's go to the Messaging tab and make sure we're in the Email Invitation tab and then select Design Invitation. This will take you to the Invitation Designer. The first step is to choose a guest type. You can choose either regular guests, VIPs, or use the same design for both guests if we want to send the same exact invitation to all of our guests. I'll select regular guests for now, then click Next. The next page asks you to choose a block to modify. Before I do that, I first want to describe what these blocks are. Each of these blocks represents an area on the invitation. Here, the image shows you an example of what a real invitation would look like and what the top, middle, and bottom blocks are. Something to note, between the top and middle block is where you will find the greeting of the guest that the system adds automatically. Between the middle and bottom block is the RSVP button that the system also adds automatically. This way, every invitation has a button for your guests to RSVP, whether they will attend the event or not. It's important to note that it's optional to put content in any of these 3 blocks. It's entirely up to you how you want your invitation to look. Within each block are 3 sub-blocks called sections where content is added. These are optional as well, and we will talk more about these again in just a moment. So let's continue and click Block to modify, select the top block, and then click Next. Here are the 3 sections of the block where you can add content that I was referring to before. Again, you do not need to use all 3 sections if you don't want to. And in this example, I will choose to only turn on section 1. When you turn on this section, you'll notice that there are areas that allow you to add text or image content. The first thing I'd like to go over is setting the width. You can use the slider to set the width of the left side. This will determine how wide you want the 2 columns to be. If you want 1 full column, you can drag the slider all the way to the right and make the width of the left side 100%. That's what I'll do for this top block. Then, you can toggle what kind of content you want to add. I'll stick with text here. Now, we can format the font and alignment and enter the content we would like to see at the top of the invitation. Now we can choose to add another section within the top block if we'd like. Maybe you'd like to add a banner image below, for example, but I will just use 1 section in each block for this tutorial. We've finished this block, so I'll go ahead and click Next. After clicking Next, it's going to ask you if you'd like to modify or remove more blocks. Let's select Yes, because I'd like to add a middle and bottom block, and then click Next. Let's now go ahead and modify the middle block. Once again, you'll notice the format of the middle block is just like it was for the top block, with 1 small difference. Above the 3 sections, there's a text box with personalized greeting in brackets. This is here strictly for styling purposes and allows you to update the font style of the greeting that the system will add between the top and middle blocks. Let's make a small tweak and see how it looks later. Now let's turn on the first section again, and here I'm going to leave the width right in the middle at 50% because I want to add an image and some text. I think I would prefer the image to be on the left side and the text to be on the right side. So I'm going to use these toggles to switch the left side to an image and the right side to text. Next, I'll select my image by clicking Select Image. The default library of images comes up where you can find images from the system as well as any images users within your mission have uploaded. If you don't see the image that you would like to add, click Upload Files and you can drop an image file into your mission's library from your computer. In this case, let's select an American flag as the image. Now let's move over to the right side and enter some text as well. I'm not going to add another section, so let's click Next. Let's select Yes once more so we can modify our bottom block. So I'll select the bottom block and click Next again. I'll turn section 1 on, and then let's move the width slider all the way to the right to 100% so I have just one column here. And I'm going to make this an image. Let's scroll down to find the image we want to add, and then select it. This looks good to me, so I'm going to leave it like this and click Next. Finally, we're done designing my invitation, so I'll select No and click Next. Then Finished. Once the page refreshes, go back to the Messaging tab under Email Invitation and scroll down where you'll see the invitation mockup showing what you've designed. Here we see the top, middle, and bottom blocks, and there you'll notice the personalized greeting is between the top and middle block, and the RSVP button is between the middle and bottom block. If we want to go back and make any edits to what we see here, we can always go back to the invitation designer and make any updates to the blocks we just edited. I think what we have here looks good for now, but before sending these invitations to our guests, it's always good practice to send a test email. In fact, the system requires you to send at least one test email before allowing you to send the actual invitations. So let's click Send Test Email. A pop-up appears because we need a dummy test contact in our guest list in order to send this test email. The system will automatically generate this test contact and add it to our guest list for us. This page allows you to select which type of email message you'd like to send a test of. Of course, we're going to select invitation, but you also have the option to send test emails for the resend email, reminder email, cancellation, and completion emails as well. Again, we're going to select invitation and then guest type regular because that's the invitation that we designed. Then I'll click Next. The next page is where you enter the test email recipients. You should always enter your own email so that the test email gets sent to yourself. But if you'd like to send to others as well, you can always add additional emails by separating them with a comma. The emails you enter here must either be america.gov or state.gov emails. Great. Test invitation email has been sent, and I'll just click Next and then Finish. Now, if I go to my email, I can find the invitation we just sent. Just as designed, we can see where the top block comes into play, the greeting that appears between the top and middle block. We see the middle block with our image and also text, the RSVP button right between the middle and bottom blocks, and then the bottom block where I just added a nice image to wrap it up. Now, if we want to go back and make any edits to that email invitation, we can still go into the invitation designer and make updates and send more tests if we'd like to. I think that this invitation looks perfect though. So now we're ready to send invitations to all our guests. From the Messaging tab, I'm going to click Send Emails. I'm going to select Invitation as the email message I'd like to send. Once we click Next, it will send emails to all guests. So just make sure that you are ready to send before clicking Next. This concludes our CRM tutorial. For additional resources, you can visit CRM HQ, which has all CRM related news and updates. Resources, which you can find on the CRM homepage as well. This includes the user guide, QRGs, videos, and more. And lastly, you can contact our customer support desk at iipsupport@state.gov for any additional questions or issues that you have around CRM. If you require further support or would like to provide additional feedback, please do get in touch with IIP Office of Digital at state.gov. Thanks for watching.